Welcome back to your regularly scheduled program, doing a little bit of an impromptu episode here on your favorite movie review channel, Man Cinema Reviews, with its ever so lovely host, Peter Man. Hey, that's me. What's up, y'all? Today, I'm going to try to make it as succinct and painless as possible, but we're going to do a power ranking of one of my favorite horror franchises. Yes, in the celebration of Scream 6 releasing, we're going to do a ranking of all Scream films thus far. But before we get to the power ranking of this Scream franchise, let me have you do a couple things that you usually do about this time, and that is to press like, subscribe, and be sure to hit the notification bell as well to notify you of any and all exploration of cinema, reviews, and the like to this channel. As always, thank you very much for choosing Man Cinema Reviews. Not to get too Randy Meeks of things, getting into the weeds of what I love about what makes a good Scream film, let's get into the ranking of the Scream franchise. At number 6, it's a fun film, and going back, having a little bit of revisionist kind of outlook on the Scream franchise thus far, Scream 3 is what it is. And it can't help but to escape production woes. Kevin Williamson didn't come back as screenwriter. He did do like a 30-page outline. Aaron Kruger took on the reins. So he only had basically cliff notes of what Kevin Williamson brought to the table. And I do like the fact that it's set in Hollywood. You know, the Stab series, we get to see actors playing the characters of Gale and Dewey, as well as Sydney. So that's cool, recreating Woodsboro in the Hollywood atmosphere. I like the fact that it is also speaking on how poorly women are treated in the Hollywood atmosphere, especially being a Weinstein film. I think Wes Craven was taking jabs at Harvey Weinstein at this fact. So I do like a couple aspects of what Scream 3 presents. However, you can't get over Sydney seeing visions of her dead mother, these dreams that become so surreal. She's tormented, and Sydney doesn't get a lot of screen time in this film. Neve Campbell, but as beloved as she is as a final girl, I'm glad that she did wrap up the trilogy. And when we kind of want to do the rankings of the Scream franchise, we want to kind of base them on the Ghostface killers as well. This happens to be the weakest, but very unique, being only one killer, and that is Roman Bridger, played by Scott Foley. Again, this is the half-brother of Sydney, the love child of a producer who had raped Sydney's mother, who was an aspiring actress at the time. This seemed a little bit too soap opera, too hokey, and the film was very just by the numbers, bombastic. Just didn't feel like a traditional Scream film. So the many swings that this film takes, it's still a fun watch, but definitely the weakest in the series. Going on to my number 5 in the series is Scream 4. Now I'm also having revisionist views on it. I remember when it first released, coming out in 2011, I was very excited to see what Wes Craven was doing in the 4th film. I thought he wrapped it up sufficiently in the original trilogy, but to come back years later to kind of be reintroduced to Woodsboro at the time in the late 2010s, going into the next decade, it was really fun to bring back Dewey and Gail and Sydney, but again, trying to recreate the magic of what the original film was with this new young cast. I feel like they were trying to strike lightning in a bottle twice, and they really couldn't do that, with the exception of Kirby, Hayden Panettiere, who was a great and phenomenal addition to the series. I don't feel like Emma Roberts becomes this fully functioning, fully realized Ghostface killer when she is revealed. I do like the fact that she did it for the clout, did it for the fame, and something that was kind of ahead of its time in the post Instagram, TikTok era, which was really cool and very kind of revolutionary for Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven to provoke in a Ghostface motive. And with Rory Culkin's Charlie Walker just kind of being the lapdog, kind of being like the stew-mocker to Billy Loomis. I know that it was probably a doomed relationship that he wanted with Emma Roberts' Jill character, and when she turns on him, it's kind of like Billy not being able to do that fully in the original, where Jill's kind of ruthless, but to me Emma Roberts didn't really live up to the hype, and it felt kind of forced. But I do like this film with the more and more times that I go back and watch it. Going on to number 4, Scream 6. We just got this film released. As much as I loved the first 2 acts, I do think that it takes a nosedive, and now I get to feel like I could explain myself in why I didn't care for the ending and the Ghostface reveal. But going back to how the film started off with the multiple kills, having an initial Ghostface unmask and being kind of a fake out because a Ghostface wants to come back and pin it on these 2 aspiring filmmaker students. It really was Richie Kirsch's family. And I don't know how I feel about that. Dermot Mulroney, Liana Liberato, as well as Jack Champion, the Baileys, if you will, Wayne Bailey and his daughter Quinn, and his son Ethan turn out to be the killers. This is Richie's family getting revenge on Melissa Barrera's Sam and Jenna Ortega's Tara. And again, that felt even hokier than Scott Foley being the half-brother to Nev Campbell's Sidney Prescott. I just felt like this was really forced, and when it became kind of maniacal fodder with the laughs and why we were doing this in the first place, it just felt forced and hokey. As much as I really like Scream 6 opening and middle section, its ending is what kills it. Going on to my ranking of number 3 is Scream 5. Now, Scream 5, even though it happens to be at the top 3 of my list, I have to say that I do have lukewarm feelings. I do like Radio Silence consistency. Matt Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillette really are fanboys at heart, and I do like the filmmaker's work, especially Ready or Not. This film kind of wanted to give homage to its original Scream 1996, and it feels like it kind of reverberates and recycles what you loved about that film, and giving homage, kind of similar story beats, following, coming back to Woodsboro, however many years later. And with this film, I do think I like its younger cast even better than in Scream 4 when it came back in 2011. With this film, it just raises the stakes somewhat. However, even in its third act, the killers that are revealed, because you kind of want to, base a Scream film on how clever and unpredictable. You didn't see the Ghostface killer in the reveal. With Jack Quaid's Richie Kirsch, and with Mikey Madison's Amber Freeman, these two psychopath killers, lovers, if you will, finding each other on the internet. Again, these films kind of feel hokey when they have such great setup, and having the love interest be the killer. This is Melissa Barrera's Sam's boyfriend being the killer. You kind of saw it coming, with Sydney and Billy. Now you had Sam and Richie. You always gotta look at the love interest. Pay attention, because it usually is 9 times out of 10 gonna be the killer in the end. But I love the homage to Wes Craven, Radio Silence. Good job, fellas. Stay on board, but let's up the stakes. Don't be afraid to kill these legacy new characters, if you will, because Mindy and Chad, as much stabs that they had, that you were too scared to kill them off. And I get it. They're beloved characters. Wes really had the balls to kill Randy in the sequel. So I get it. You guys don't want to pull the trigger so fast. However, if you're going to tease it, don't be afraid. In the next one, if the Meeks lineage has to be cut off, so be it. Maybe get a better film next go round. Going on to my top 2. Okay, obviously Scream 2 is my number 2. Even though I think it's the highest rated in the series, I think it has an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. The original film has an 80%. But I think this film had just upped the stakes, upped the ante. The kills were a lot more prevalent. The opening tries to redo what the original with Drew Barrymore, the fake out. You had Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett opening up at the first Stab movies opening. And it's really cool to have a movie theater kill. The kids going to college, Sydney and Randy going off to Windsor. The film felt like it was trying to recreate the original as well. You just really can't live up to the original recipe. But they do a good job, I think, probably the best job since the first film on its Ghostface killers. And this is a twofer. We have Mickey Altieri, played by Timothy Oliphant. A Ghostface killer that's not fully realized until the very end, and I think he does a better job in the reveal of becoming the killer. Being a film crazed film nerd turned psychopath killer. He does feel fully fleshed out at the end, as well as Mrs. Loomis, Laurie Metcalf, Billy Loomis's mom. I did not see that coming. I think that this is probably one of the greater reveals next to the original. It felt right, it felt earned, and if we didn't have that Jerry O'Connell "I think I love you" scene, probably would have surpassed the original, and I easily skipped that scene. Going on to my number 1, of course, it's going to be the original. Wes Craven, Kevin Williamson crafted such an original horror film when horror films were basically dead in the mid-90s. They really revolutionized and revitalized what a horror slasher is about. Developing the rules with the Randy Meeks character, which Jamie Kennedy doesn't give enough love and praise. Billy Loomis and Stu Macher being the killers seems so obvious in rewatches, especially how Nev Campbell's Sydney says, well, how do you gut people, from groin to sternum, in the way that in that scene you have Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich just giving away that they are the killers, because Skeet Ulrich just looks so unassuming and very threatening to Stu. Why are you blowing our cover, basically? You could see that these are the killers in a rewatch. But when you first watch the film, you kind of are caught by surprise that, hey, it's the love interest and his best friends masterminding it. And Scream 3 kind of wanted to tie up the trilogy with having, Roman Bridger, Scott Foley's character, be the mastermind. I don't know how I feel about that, how he filmed Sydney's mom's affair with Billy's father, and that angered Skeet Ulrich's Billy, and that's what set off the murders in the first place. I don't know how I feel about that. Very interesting and unique premise, but I don't know how that it kind of gets sullied in Scream 3. Leave it alone. Leave the original what it is, okay? And the fact that Stu Macher gets killed by a television set on his head be the final blow. I like the fact that Scream 6 has Mindy's character say, if you believe that Stu is dead. Because originally, Stu was supposed to come back in the third film. And so it'd be really interesting to see if the door is left open for Matthew Lillard to come back. Hey, if they brought back Kirby back from the dead as an FBI agent in Scream 6, why can't Stu Macher come back and be a Ghostface killer and kind of tie off this new trilogy? Wouldn't that be something? Man, I love Scream, and I'm glad that I gave you this impromptu power ranking. Thank you very much for tuning in to my ranking of the Scream series. What is your ranking? Let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.